Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to create a Christmas card. Yes, I know we're in February, but I thought I'd get a start on these because we always need them for those of us who celebrate. So I'm using Simon Says stamps. This was, I think, this is the Warmest Wishes, and I want to say this was a couple, maybe 2 or 3 kits ago that I just haven't got around to using. So it's got all these beautiful wintry, like cozy kind of images on it, and they're also like a layering set. So you've got sort of like the boot here, and then you've got the bits that you can then do in different colours to make the pattern on the boot. For example, some foliage and some nice sentiments and things. So this is the Warmest Wishes stamp set that came with it. And then, just get that out of the way, I'm also using the embossing folder and cutting die. This comes with a set of dies that you can cut out the images on the, or I would cut them out first, and then use the embossing folder to emboss them. So that's cool for like an extra element. But this is the embossing folder we're going to use today. So that is the bundled up embossing folder, and I've already run it through my Spellbinders machine. And I just used some cream cardstock from my stash. No idea, this might be Tonic Studios, I'm not sure. But we're going to do blackout. I'm a bit obsessed with blackout techniques at the moment. So this is the 3D as it is. Oh, there you go. And it's really pretty. You could colour this in. Oh, yum. But we're going to use the reverse side, so the debossed side, to create the blackout. So I'll get to that in a minute. Then I have a standard A2 card. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Just a white card base, which I will put somewhere. And then in the kit we also got some inks. So these are the positively saturated inks, and these are the minis. So we've got pucker, which is like an orangey colour, artichoke, which is a green, and then latte, which is a sort of creamy colour. So I'm going to try and use all 3 of those on the stamped part of this, but on the whole card really. And then what I did was I've worked out the size of my stamps. I've got all my stamps set out here. So the white piece is a 3 by 4, so 4 by 3 across there. And then this is 1/8 of an inch bigger, so whatever that is, 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Hello. This is some cardstock that sort of, it looks a bit, it's not the same orange as that, but it's sort of a corally, but more orangey corally. That made any sense. It's just for a layer, so that will go with the card when we get there. So I think we'll start with the stamping. Let's just, actually let's do let's do the stamping first. So I'm going to bring in one of my favourite, I've got stuff everywhere, one of my favourite tools, which is this, my Tim Holtz stamp platform. I will hopefully get this in camera. I did do a video as to the way that I use the sticky grid from Old New. If I remember, I will link that below. But this is an easy way to use this with your polymer stamps. Keeps it really, things in place without having to use tape and whatever else. So I am going to grab, first of all, my paper. I'm just going to pop this on here, anywhere on there, and it just holds it. Then I think I decided, that I wanted this. This is in 2 bits. I think I decided that this one needed to be the, was it this colour? No, artichoke. Do I want to do that one? No, let's do this one. So I've just lined it up on there, just picking it up with my Nearly said my machine. It's not a machine. Move that away. I'm going to use the pucker. I'm going in. I'm doing it. Oh, oh, these are very juicy. So just, and in fact that my plan may not work. So with the just doing this, just feeling the sort of how spongy these are. So my plan for the blackout with the colour may not work the way I'm thinking, but we'll see. Worst case, we turn it over and we'll use the other side. Oh, how pretty is that? It's a very cute set. Nice thing about stamping with a platform of some description is that you can go over it again and again, which is why I found it really important to get this, like a sticky grid or something like that. Waffle Flower do their own version of that, this sort of thing, for the different platforms. So, and that helps me a lot. So, just gonna wipe this off a bit. Get that out the way. Right, now I want to add this in. Excuse me while I do this. I think that should be good. All I've done is lined up the edge of the image along the edge of this edge here. And I think this one I was going to do latte. Just a soft colour. And it makes up the rest of the little jumper. Double stamp. You can triple stamp. You can do it as much as you want. I think that's good. I'm okay with that. Right, so clean that off quickly. You can put them away later. So now I want to put this here with a similar gap at the top and the bottom. It's not going to be exact because I've used this sort of two-step stamping kind of thing, but we'll make it work. So I think that'll probably work. So I've got this word that I'm pretty sure I'm not saying right, but it looks like hygge or hygge. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm going to use the latte on this one. And then underneath we'll have the rest of the sentiment which explains what that means, which is, I thought was really cool. That bit. And two-step stamping or stamping multiples just takes a bit of time, but it's not difficult. Just want to line it up somewhat straight. That'll do. That'll do. I'm using the artichoke. Like I say, we might have issues in a minute. I've just thought. That looks pretty. So, that's the stamping here done. Just to keep it really simple. So the meaning of the hygge word is feeling of coziness and contentment evoked by simple comforts. Perfect. So now we're going to try and do our blackout technique. And find somewhere to put that. If this does not work, then I will cry. No, I won't. But right. So for a blackout technique, if you've never done it before, I have other videos that will show you that. But normally with an embossing folder, you'll use the embossed raised images. But for this, we're going to use the deboss. So it's where when you turn it over, the images are going into the paper. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see, I'm going to go carefully with this. I'm scared. Then all we're going to do is very gently, because this is also a sponge pad, is just drag this down. Unless I've got an ink that's similar to that. Let's see if I've got a lawn fawn one that's kind of, no, I don't have anything similar. Let's go for it. Worst case, we'll just, won't use it. So very lightly dragging this down. So far so good. Whew. Yeah, see, I went right into that one there. This is maybe not as good as I thought it was going to be. It's also very, very juicy ink pad, so it tends to want to smear and absorb. So it's not, I mean, this side looks a bit better, but I did catch some of the inside of the images, which I was trying to avoid, which I've done quite nicely there now. So, oh, it's kind of a blackout technique. I might still use it. Let's just see. Right, so just a tip, don't use the a sponge one. In fact, now that I've done that, we're just winging it now. But that would be how you would get your blackout technique. So this is going to be a variation of, because I've got a spongy ink pad. So if you have an ink pad that isn't spongy like this, like some of the felt ones, then it's a fabulous technique to do, and it works really well with the 3D embossing folders. So Simon's embossing folders are 3D, so I still quite like that actually. Now that I've embraced the mess and the muck up, I quite like it. So we're just going to, we're doing it now. So the idea is not to go into the images, but even doing it like this, you can still see the images really clearly. So this is kind of cool. So that's using a positively saturated ink, which has a spongy kind of top, you know, where the ink sits, as opposed to like the distressings have a felt top. So when this, if you drag this over it, it would feel much firmer, so it's easier to just stay on top of the sort of the flat card rather than letting the ink go into the images themselves. It made any sense, but anyway, we're winging it. We're going with it. So now I'm just going to put this together, hopefully somewhat easily. Just for some, and that cardstock matches fairly well, actually. That's that. That's just going to sit on top of there, just like that. So I think what I want to do is get this on. I'm going to use a different tape for this because it's got a lot of bumpies. So either use a wet adhesive or a very strong tape. And that will help, you know, help it to stick better to your card. Oops. And I'm just going to go like this. To pop this on here, card base. Let's open this up. And I always turn them upside down. I don't know why. I can see it better for some reason. Also remember that when you emboss a piece of cardstock, it will shrink it because it's pushing that paper into, pushing the image into the cardstock or the paper. It kind of breaks the fibers of the paper and it kind of lifts it, if that makes sense. So it kind of shrinks the paper. So I've got a slightly bigger border, top and bottom and sides, than I would normally have if I hadn't embossed a piece of cardstock. I don't overthink that because it's a handmade card, so it is what it is. So for this, I think I will actually use some wet adhesive just to get that stuck on there. I really quite like the way this is looking, and these inks will soften as they dry as well, so it won't be quite so stark. Do I want some? No. Let's put some foam on them just because we can. And this is quite a good sticky one, so it will help, but I will give you a tip on what else to do when you're trying to add, like with foam, adding foam, foam to your backgrounds. This is still wet as well, so you have to bear that in mind. And also, even if these are very sticky, these dots, it may still not stick to the ink. So there's a way you get around that, and it also helps with placement. And we just add a bit of wet glue to the back of the foam pads. If I can get them off, that would be nice for everybody. so let's bring this in. And then you just add a dot if my Just realised there's a cat hair in there as well, because why not? The cats are sending their love. And then you've just got a little bit of wet adhesive on the back there, and then it'll give you some time to stick it down somewhat centered. And then once the adhesive dries, then it'll bond the foam, but it also gives you that lift. So if you've got foam but you don't have like self-adhesive foam, no, yes, like double-sided tape, that kind of thing, double-sided foam tape, you can use ordinary fun foam, just use your adhesives. So there you go. Somewhat quick and very simple card. But yeah, a different take on a blackout. But I really quite like it actually. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys, and yeah, until next time, we'll see you then. Bye for now.